Welcome back to another episode of In the Garage with me, working on stuff. Almost said the S word. What are you doing today, Chris?
Well, I don't know. You're just working on random stuff?
No guy, some random dude that I don't know. I told you this in the summer. Yeah. Today I'm on this. Last video we were on the Impala. I'd be working on that, but I'm waiting on parts. Yep. So, chair's in the way. Back working on Angus. Got a couple things that I want to get done in this video today. First, we got an intro. So, as I mentioned before the intro there, that we got some stuff to do to Angus today. Number one, we got to figure out lights. Front. Parking lights. Sides. Bumper. They don't work. Blinkers. They don't work. I don't know why. Hazards. They all work. Headlights. They work. And brakes. They work. Parking lights got an issue. Second, we put bucket seats in it. Temporarily mocked up in there. And they're not bolted down to the floor or welded or anything. They're just sitting in there on wood to keep them straight. We got to install those. Let's get into working on the parking lights. So to show you what I got going on here is turn the headlights on. Headlights come on. But I don't have that. And you could say, well, hey, it's a bulb. I don't know if it's hanging. Either side. Well, maybe it is a bulb. I don't know. We got back sides working. But then, when I go to flip the hazards on, oh, look. It ain't a bulb. I actually put an LED one on that side because I wanted to put LEDs on there. That's working. And the back is working as intended. You got that side marker, and then you got, a hazard on both sides. Hazard. So what is causing our issue? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. So even with key on, we ain't got no front blinkers. We got the back one. That side. But, oh, well, hey, now it's working. What the heck's going on? What is going on? Why? What? Okay. Alright. Pause. Alright. So, back to where I was. I put the LED back in driver's side front here. So, we go to turn on the truck. Let's just say we're normal driving. We got our blinker on. Let me show you. We got a blinker. LED, right? Side, and it's working. Back, it's working. Okay. So let's turn on the headlights. Let's see what happens when we turn on headlights. Well, headlights are on now. It kind of did something different because now that light is blinking white because it's a white amber LED, and it's not syncing correctly because it's supposed to be doop 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 doop. So let's change the bulb and see if that does anything. So even putting a bulb in, it's still flashing in sync with this. From what I understand with these, because I may or may not have had some GMs before, it's supposed to flash brighter, slower, brighter, with your headlights on. So let's turn ignition. Well, let's turn the headlights off. And it's still kind of a flash, fast flash. So we got something goofy going on with that setup. When those LEDs are in there, it's supposed to be bright orange, flashing in sync with that side one. And I don't know. So my thoughts are we got to do some tracing because we know the bulkhead connector is obviously working because we're getting power from the switch on the steering column to the front and the back. So everything there is working. I think that switch for the parking light might be a culprit. So let's look at that. I'm gonna see if I can do it one-handed. I already pulled the harness off. Hey, come on, get it off the wiper too. I already pulled the drop my switch. Harness off for the switch. Now the switch, if you guys don't know, you just pull it out like so. It's got this little button right here. You push it in and then you can, I'm not gonna be able to do it one-handed. But you push it in, there we go. Pull that guy out, throw it off there. And this is just like a big plastic washer. You undo it and that's how you get that switch out. Pretty simple. So I'm gonna pull that out, get the multimeter out, start poking, prodding on these wires, find the right one and see maybe if we put power to this for the front and from the back, I don't know. Maybe we can figure it out. So just for the poops and giggles, I had another switch. It's the one from in there. Had another switch, threw it in there with same results. So that kind of tells me it's not the switch-ish. Not sure if this switch is actually good or not because it came off of that cab bits and pieces. But if I'm getting the same results from this switch as I am from the stock switch that was on here, chances are it's probably an error. So now what we want to do is test out the harness. This is the plug. And if we go back to the schematic that we drew up, you know, with that, with our knob and everything, you know, ground, that's going to be power. 2 is going to be our dimmer switch. This 4 right here is going to be for taillights. The 6 is going to be for headlights, and this is going to be power. So what we got to do is we have to make sure we got power here. So I'm going to take my multimeter and I'm going to test out this fused spot, make sure our fuse is good. We're going to do that just by jamming this guy in there like so. And you're going to stay in there like so, and then find a ground. That should work. That should work. Yeah. So our fuse is grounding and it's giving us our voltages from the battery. So we know our fused power source up to our switch is good. And now let's check our constant. 12, we'll ground it out. And yeah, it's grounding out to same voltage battery. So we know we got power to this. So what we're gonna do is, again with the jumper wires, at this point it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use your ground, or excuse me, your fused or your constant. I'm just gonna use the constant for our feed. And we're gonna jamulate that one in there. And when we jumper this, we should get parking lights, or we got our headlights on, and we should get parking lights. But our fronts are still not working. And when we jumper our headlights there, of course our headlights are working. So all that work, what did we accomplish? Well, we accomplished that we have power to our connector, our switch is fine, and we don't have blown fuse. Tail lips is getting power to it, but the fronts is not. So now we got to trace to our fronts where that splits off. Most likely that's going to be at this bulkhead connector, I think. But I got to dive into that and see what I can figure out. Well, after some tracing wires, I got my jumper hooked up here. Taillights are on. I ripped apart the block here. My gut told me to check down here where the actual wire comes in into the socket. There's a one of those cheap clippers that I put on there. And, you know, if I go ahead and ground and put power to it, there, our multimeter has power. So we have power down to the socket. So the actual socket is what our problem is on this unit. So, cheap enough. Got some on order. Gonna throw everything back together up there, and tidy it up again. And then what are you gonna do? I'm gonna go work on the seats. All right, so I've been playing around, monkeying with the seats here a little bit, trying to figure out best placement of them. Let me show you what I got going on here. Got the passenger side, of course, mocked up in here, and it's right where I'd like it. It's very cozy. You sit in it. Got plenty of room. Adjust, and you're comfortable. Your feet aren't like in the dash. You know, we got no room to go back, but we're, of course, angled with our seat. Now, these seats came out of a 2019 Equinox. They're both passenger side ones, but it's okay because they're comfortable. But I got a hell of a deal on them, so I couldn't pass them up. But yeah, I think they're going to do just fine. We're going to have plenty of space right here to build a console, because if you can kind of eyeball with this seatbelt bolt, we're gonna have like all this right in here for spacage to do stuff. So armrest, bag, whatever we want to put right there, we can put right there and have plenty of space. Now I did try monkeying with the stock seat bracket bolted on there and trying to do a couple things, and it wasn't going to work for how I thought it was going to, so gonna abandon that, and we're just gonna get some screws zipped in there, and I got some angle iron. We'll build some other brackets and weld them in the floor so they're solid. And this is what I got so far. Welded on, angle iron, bolted it to the back track or the floor, and then I welded it to the track on the back. Got this piece up front here bolted on over there. I gotta straighten it up and weld it up, but it's pretty good. Pretty happy with where it lines up and everything in the truck. Slides forward, backwards, it does what it needs to do. So I got some stuff I got to do today, so I gotta pause here and pick up on it next day, couple days. Hopefully tomorrow. Be back. Well, it is the next day, and I got both these seats done. What I did is I just built a little bracket out of some angle iron, bolted them up, bolted them to the floor. That way I can remove them, put the bench in, and we can, you know, not have buckets in here if we don't want buckets, and we can go back to stock. But mainly because that side's got the gas tank, and I didn't feel like zipping holes in it to get in there, and I had to drop the tank. I'm lazy, okay? So I fabbed something up so I can just bolt it to stock locations. And it works. I gotta get new hardware for it, but original belt's gonna work, and I'm gonna paint those up, I think. Get them, or dye them, do something. But we'll do that. We'll get the 3-point put up to where it needs to go. Figure out something for that, which I think I'm just gonna I don't know, maybe we'll put the stock one down in the stock location, but we'll do something and call her good. Probably clean these up, paint them here, but we gotta do carpet yet, and I gotta work on gauges. So I'm gonna work on gauges now. All right, so the gauges are, that's how they're gonna be. Still waiting on my Speedo. Actually did a GPS one on that, so that's gonna be pretty neat. Should be there today. I do gotta modify a little bit in there and up there to get it to fit, but we'll get it to fit. Next thing, moved on to the interior. I got the seats pulled back out. I'm gonna paint those brackets. I gotta do some trimming a little bit on those. And I want to paint the floor with the POR 15, get it all cleaned up. So got to get that cleaned up. But I got to thinking, maybe I'll just figure out the, heater, because this little cable's not working. And I'm looking in there, and I don't know, you guys probably can't see, right? You see it? There's a mouse nest in there. So now I'm going to pull this whole thing apart, clean it all out, make sure that the heater core is not leaking, all that fun stuff, and go ahead and just clean all that up. Then we'll clean up the inside and we'll POR 15 the floor. Hopefully get the seats bolted back up after carpet's installed. Well, yeah, I think I found it. So I get this cleaned up. I'll pull that apart and see how bad it is. So I got her all pulled apart. I got it soaking down. It's using some pet disinfecting cleaner. It's got peroxide and stuff in it. That'll help with that urine smell. Got the fan out, sprayed some in there too, and I sprayed some on the inside. Just to get to the places I couldn't reach with a vacuum, I did have to scrape some stuff off with a screwdriver, but all in all, that's pretty much how I do it. You can see it's bubbling, so I've got somewhere the urine is, and it's cleaning it. It's doing the thing. So, man, you can do it a couple times. Since it was caked on, I am going to do it a couple times and let it soak and eat at it, wipe it down, do it again. Do it at your discretion. Wear gloves and mask. I had them on and I took them off, but yeesh. Okay, so the inside's all vacuumed out now. I did go ahead and do a red scratch pad all of it down. I'm going to leave that insulation there on the back, and after I red scuff patted it down, I went ahead and I vacuumed it up again, because you get crusties and nasties and whatever else from dust floating around. And even though it's going to be covered up by carpet, I don't know, that's the proper way to do it. I did make sure to get in all my little nooks and crannies on the edges there. You don't really want this stuff flying off, so scuff it up. Now, prep work is your friend. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a clean shop rag here, some acetone, wipe it down again, one good time to get all the grit, grease, and grime off, and then we're gonna POR 15 this. there it is. It's you know, self-leveling, drying still, but I think it'll be good enough. Actually got a little bit left, so recommends 2 coats, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just put a couple coats on where it's coming through, but I got a package that arrived in the mail, so I gotta grab it. Well, look at that. This I thought was pretty ingenious. It's gonna be my speedometer. Off-white, white-ish. Yeah, it'll work. What it is a GPS speedometer. So it's got a little GPS cable that gets plumbed up and it works off the GPS. I ain't gotta worry about vehicle speed sensors and all that. So thought it was pretty neat. It also has a little spot to hook up my brights and blinkers. That's what I needed. So I'm gonna get this installed and show you what it looks like. Well, it is the next day, and I didn't get to installing the gauge clusters. The paint for the floor is not dried yet. You know, colder temperatures, it decided to still be a little wet. Let me show you. So yeah, you can see where I laid it on a little thick. It's a little shiny down there. It hasn't quite dried, but you know, turned out okay. So in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to work on getting this blinker situation, parking light situation figured out. My parts did come in. I do believe, as I mentioned, it's sockets, so I got these ones. I am going to test out a couple things on the old one before we get into it again, just to triple check and make sure I'm not cutting stuff just between whatever. Because I posted a TikTok, and yeah, it was on TikTok. Everyone's commenting that it's grounds and everything else. So just to be sure, I'm going to triple, quadruple check that it's not the grounds. Well, here's an interesting development. Parking lights are on. Back ones you can see on. And that side marker's on. Well, I don't have bulbs in the front and the sockets. This side is not lit up. I don't know what is going on here. What are you trying to tell me here, guy? Parking light on. And now that side marker's not working. The bulb just kind of flickered a little bit. I twisted around again. Okay, the bulb's not even coming out. What is going on here? So then I tried grounding out the socket with the light. There we go. Now we got a parking light on. So it's definitely, I'm going to say, the ground in here. But my side one's not on still. So what happens now if we turn the blinker on? Now it's blinking like it's supposed to. The only problem now is my side parking light's not on. I don't know what the deal is. Oh. Oh. What do we got? What do we got doing? Doing something. So these are identical China GM. I did notice that the back side of these are kind of not very weatherproof. GM ones are more weatherproof, but obviously didn't hold up. So to at least give me 45 years, however old this thing is, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and I'm going to hot glue the back side of these wires just so they get a little bit more better weatherproofing. So sockets changed. My 2057 amber is burned out. LED still continue to be not good. So I went with a traditional 1157. Combination, socket, bulbs, whatever. I gotta go get some 2057s because the lens in the front of these are clear. So I need amber bulbs. I think I had that problem with another car. Anyways, got a new flasher. This is the one that was in there. Kind of a Taiwanese thing, but it was kind of going quick, and I just decided to not use it. So I flip-flopped them in the box there, and then the hazards were acting a fool, and I'm like, no, I don't like that. So I found another one in the parts bin, and now everything's working as intended. Hazards are a little bit quicker, but you know, at least they're all working now. So happy with that. Kind of frustrating though when you I was looking for those electronic flashers that I had in the purple car that we did with the LEDs. I bought a couple different sets of them, and it's frustrating when you know you have the parts but you can't find them. That's kind of my little electrical section right there, and they're I don't know, gone. Frustrating. We're still waiting for the floor to dry. Got the harness all ready to go, power supply pinned about everything that I'm going to need, turn signals and whatnot. On the seats, I got the belts buckled up. Well, the buckles attached to how I'm going to put them in there. I was trying to find a wiring schematic on this because I do believe it's got heated seats, but I ain't finding any luck, so I'm just going to tuck it away and have it be one of my, when I have time, free projects. But that's going to do it for this one. Got a lot done. Figured out those parking lights. Floor painted, seats mounted up, painted up. Yeah, lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff done. So appreciate everyone for watching. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Stay tuned. I got more to do on this, and I got another video. Actually got a couple videos I'm going to be making here on the Impala coming up very soon. You're not going to want to miss those. Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.